All right, guys, meal number one, because you bunch of weirdos want to watch me cook food. This is my disclaimer. I'll probably say it before every single one. I don't know how to cook. So as far as obviously the example of someone that goes to the YMCA and does some curls and the bench press like twice a week, like that's how they work out comparatively to how I work out for my profession. I'm that guy that, goes and does curls once a week at the YMCA. That's my cooking proficiency. So if you're watching this and you actually know how to cook, like, don't judge me. You guys wanted to see this. I'm not saying I know how to make things taste good or do fancy stuff. I'm a bodybuilder, but I'm just going to show you exactly what I do. The first thing I'm going to give you, though, is the most important bodybuilding hack. For something that costs like $8 or $9, we have a ridiculous amount of these. So I'm just going to show you guys right here. If you guys can look over, no normal person should have this many, I don't know what, culinary scissors, utility scissors, whatever they're called. These ones are nice. I'll link them if you're concerned. KitchenAid, Amazon. I think these are literally $9. So someone's like, why would you have this many? If you're a bodybuilder and you know how much fun chewing is, if you don't have a lot of these, all you're telling me is that you haven't been bodybuilding that long. So again, normal people that cook, so my wife, when we're cooking, use these all the time for a billion different things. But again, if you're a bodybuilder, chewing is the worst part of eating. So scissors make everything in life easier. So again, if anyone ever comes over to my house, they see that I have like 8 or 9 of these. It's because I don't ever want them to be dirty. If I'm right in the middle of getting ready to go and cook something and I don't have scissors and I gotta stop and I gotta go clean the scissors, I'll get angry. So, splurge, be I don't know, someone super risk, Jeff Bezos of scissors. I bet Jeff Bezos doesn't have this many scissors. Take that, Jeff Bezos. So I'm balling on a budget. I spent, $9 times 8 is some amount I'm not going to add up right now. 70 something, maybe 60 something. I don't know. Don't judge me. 72. All right. So here's the scissors we're going to start with. And like I said, you guys are weird. You guys want to watch me cook. So I'm going to cook all of my meals. In case you guys can't figure this out, I'm not going to eat all of them right now. But I'm going to cook them all right now. So meal number one is steak, coconut oil, and berries. And I'll show you how I do all of these. So the first thing that I do is coconut oil. Sometimes I do grass-fed butter. So again, I don't have an oil or a butter religion, so don't go nuts on me. I slightly prefer coconut oil on days that I'm training, because if you read up a little bit on MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, one of the main sources of fat that is within here, it's a very good source of energy for fat. If most of you have been following me for a while, I don't like a lot of carbs in my breakfast. I just don't feel as mentally sharp when I have a lot of carbs. So I like a small amount of carbs, but again, I still want some energy that can be quickly used prior to training. So basically your body can use MCTs almost in a similar way that you could use, glucose. It's basically the same as like the digestibility is as quick as you could get glucose into your blood. So again, I was trying to say like a fast digesting carb can convert into glucose, basically how quick you can kind of use these fats. So again, just personal preference. And sometimes I use grass-fed butter as well too. I have Kerrygold butter is one of my favorite types of butter. And again, that's a weird one too. Bodybuilders, for whatever reason, think you can't have butter or think it's not healthy. I don't know what the heck that means, or why they think that fat's bad. But again, I like fat that comes from things and ideally a slightly more natural source. So again, you're going to see organic and all that kind of stuff. Again, because I don't have a Ferrari, here's me flexing with my organic stuff. So I have this thing. This is called a pan, and this is a stove top. Underneath this is an oven. I don't know how to use that. I don't use that one. That one's just for the wife. But basically, I heat this up. This controls the heat. You guys want to see how this goes? Look, this makes it less hot, more hot. So I find the just right amount of hot. This is the part that's going to make people, this is how I measure it. Look, scoop, level-ish. There we go. If you want to measure it, if you have some self-control issues, and you know that you're just going to keep having bigger spoonfuls, then you can obviously measure out your oils as well too, but I don't mess with that. So again, pan's already hot. Move that bad boy around a little bit. That's oil in there. That's good to cook in. Again, I don't know if you guys need me telling me that. Here's me using my scissors to cut open the steak. So generally, here's a pro tip. If I cut it open right here and I splatter blood all over the floor, my wife isn't a big fan of that. So I do it over the sink. I know this is boring, but you guys want to see it. See the blood down there? Blood. Ooh. All right, we're gonna throw this bad boy in here. Someone's gonna ask, damn, that cooked up hot. I do like grilling my meat. We're going to take that off for a minute. That's a little bit feisty. Normally, I think I had that sitting there for a while, heated up before I came over here. But people are going to ask, do I grill? I like to grill my food. Grilling tastes better. Most of the time, I'm eating this meal at like 6 in the morning, and it's just faster. So while I'm doing this, my kids are getting up. They're going to school. I'm probably yelling at someone and trying to throw something in the backpack and put something in their mouths. So normally this entire meal, I cook it. I'm doing other stuff. I eat most of it while I'm standing. And that's how this meal goes. This won't cook long because you'll see I like to cook my steak where basically the cow is still partially alive, is my preference. Sorry for the cow. All right, and while that bad boy is going, I do my berries. So I'm going to do something else here that's going to make everyone very mad with the berries. So again, if you didn't watch the macro video, here's the colander. My wife told me it's a colander is what this is called. Then I'm going to weigh it in, so I've zeroed the scale. And you'll see in my macros for this meal, someone's going to be confused. It has a range. It says something like 12 to 20 grams of carbs. Someone says, well, how do you have a range? I do 5 ounces of berries with my first meal. Why do I do 5 ounces of berries? Why is it 12 to 20? Well, if I did just raspberries, 5 ounces of raspberries is around 12 grams of carbs. 5 ounces of blueberries is around 20 grams of carbs. The way that I choose this is, so again, even though I'm balling and flexing with my organic food, I still don't like to waste food. My whole family eats organic everything, so I spend $8 billion on organic food. So basically, when I decide which berries I'm going to eat, I go in and look at which ones are about to go bad, and that's the ones that I eat in the morning for the most part. Because if anyone knows, when you have 8 billion berries, for me, for my entire family, I don't like them to go bad and waste money. So there we go. We've got 2.43 ounces of raspberries, and we're going to top this off. We'll see how well I can do it. 4.64. I don't want to go over. Oh, there we go. So someone's going to ask, it's 5 ounces, 5.01 ounces. So if you get on stage and you aren't quite in condition yet, it's good because you had 0.01 ounces too many of berries. So that's how I do it. So again, why is that a range? Obviously, if raspberries, that's about half raspberries, half blueberries, there's probably technically about 15 grams of carbs in here, as opposed to, again, is it 12 or is it 20? And again, that's going to make someone's head hurt, but done over the course of 10 weeks, it's all going to work out the same. Take a deep breath. So this is my berries. I'm going to get something over here. I call this a fork. It's good for poking food with. We're going to come over here, see how things are going. Yeah, I had that too hot. Too hot, too fast. Move some oil around. Flip that bad boy over. Turn the heat down a little bit. Oh, and I do this thing. Grown-ups, you're supposed to rinse your berries off before you eat them. So I don't know if that's a thing. I'm going to get this thing. Oh, someone's going to ask. This is perfect timing. This is a water filter thing. I actually first saw this one from John Meadows. John Meadows, this is a Berkey. Apparently there's people that like sell these, and it's like a multi-level marketing thing. So if you know somebody, drop your code below. But I live in Florida. If anyone doesn't know, if you're in Florida, don't drink the tap water. There's lots of stuff in there that you don't want to drink. So I think every human being having a water filter is a good idea. I don't know, like if the ones that the Brita ones, I'm sure are fine, but that one's supposed to be pretty darn good. And you can put 2 gallons on the top, holds 2 gallons in the bottom. It's a pretty convenient way to actually have water, filtered water. Again, I'm not sponsored by Berkey. Berkey, if you want to send me a free Berkey, have at it. Mr. Berkey, if you're watching this, if you're a fan of hypertrophy coaching. So see, I've rinsed these. This is a grown-up thing to do. When I would buy berries before I had kids or before I met my wife, I would eat them out of the container. But I'm a grown-up now, so I rinse them first. I set those there, put this back here. We look at the steak. Oh, and so this is pro tip too, is I don't like making dishes. So we've got cutting board, the big one. I don't like the medium one, don't know where it's at. So I take the steak out. You will see the steak is still partially living. Now here's the other thing too, is I leave the oil in the pan. So again, you do what you want with that. Obviously, I'm probably not, if I'm saying a tablespoon of coconut oil, which might not even be a full tablespoon, is about 15 grams of fat. It's if I'm eating all of it, I don't eat all of it. So I'm probably actually getting less fat, but just for calculating my macros, this way I have some sort of idea where it's at. So you do what you want. If you want the more fat, pour it on, eat the fat if you want as well too. Pan's done. I have this thing I found that I like. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's called salt. I put some on top. Someone's going to ask me, do you measure salt? If you are getting on stage, I think at some point in time, it actually is a good idea to measure salt. Again, someone's going to say, how much salt should I have to be healthy? Talk to your doctor. Because again, some of the stuff we were told about salt may or may not be completely accurate, as if it's just a general bad thing for blood pressure, something we've heard for a long period of time. Again, it's actually individual dependent. So talk to your doctor. Having a lot of salt might cause zero health issues, probably actually be good for you. And then someone, just depending on what they've got going on, pre-existing thing, could be related to blood pressure. You might want to measure and limit your amounts. As far as bodybuilding is concerned, if you're doing this and you just want to get shredded, like you just look good on the beach shredded, like a normal person with their shirt off shredded, I would say don't even bother measuring your salt. If you're going to get on stage and compete, I think probably by the last, I normally start measuring it maybe the last 2-3 weeks out, not to limit it or not to add more to take it away. Some people say, oh, you got to pull out salt at the end. No, can that actually be the worst thing you can do? Because salt lots of times just holds water intramuscularly. So some people will pull out salt and you can actually have a worse look as a result of it. The only reason I measure it at the end of a prep is to make sure I keep it consistent. So again, as you're getting towards the end of a prep or a transformation, by the last 1 or 2 weeks, that's kind of what you're going to look like. And then people try and peak week. And the peak week messes everything up. But having any big changes, so if you were eating, let's say hypothetically, 2 grams of salt throughout the entire course of the day, over the course of a prep, and just as your food gets blander and you're eating less of it towards the end and you're getting hungry and you're just trying to find anything to help make it taste better, and you just go from putting a little bit of salt on to more and more and more, if you changed your salt from 2 grams to 5 grams a day by the end, then that could potentially have a negative impact on your physique. So that's my one little note on salt. Most normal people just eat like you've been eating. If you want to go OCD on the prep, then you can actually measure out over the course of the day as well too and keep track of it. And again, the goal is consistency. The thing you can take away from that, we'll talk about what we're doing as peak week as we get towards the end, which you'll find out really isn't much. But that is really the only thing I'd really be concerned about, is keeping it consistent. Aside from spending money on shears, spend money. See, these are all crappy knives and one good knife. So as I keep getting a little bit more money, we'll slowly replace the crappy knives with a good knife. So again, that's the other thing I recommend from a bodybuilding standpoint, is a good knife is worth its weight in gold. And as you'll see, that's how I prefer it. So slightly cooked, mostly a live cow in the middle there, and we are good to go. And I'm not going to actually eat this meal in front of you, and you can watch me chew the whole thing, because there are levels of weirdness where I will stop at, and you bunch of weirdos watching me eat is not a level I'm going to take it to next. So that's meal number 1. Oh, here's my berries over here. So meal number 1, I've got the coconut oil this was cooked in. Some of this is still on here. I've got the berries here. And this is how I eat it every morning. So I don't use plates, because again, if I do plates, then not only do I have to clean this, and I have to clean this, then I have to clean the plates. Why would I move this from a cutting board to a plate and take this bowl-shaped thing to put it in another bowl-shaped thing just to make more dishes? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. So anyway, here's my meal number 1. Hopefully that is helpful to someone. And if you watch this whole thing, good for you.